right, there's something.
There's.
I thought there was a poop flavor. There it is. And I think I'm going to take the least spicy flavors and just combine them with the regular joints. And then I'll take the super spicy flavors and those will go for our locks. So
If I have to eat either rotten egg or dead fish, I
make good picks.
might come back.
Two picks, one lock. So 3 picks overall.
Okay.
You got it?
Got it.
And then Jacob has a graphic. He'll keep up with it. Hope he's upgraded my baseball graphic. Because your boy is a baseball fan now. Your boy is a fan.
You know, I
America's
meant to turn
pastime.
on a baseball game on my television this weekend just so I could have a chance at competing with the
Is this a competition? This isn't a competition.
Life's a competition.
I'm not competing in this.
Everything.
You can have it.
No, I don't just want it. I have to earn it.
You can have it.
Please do not just give it to me.
I will never give it to you, Jessica.
Thank you.
You can have it.
Grateful.
Whatever. That game, and then I might get to 2 or 3 Redbirds games this summer, and that'll be it. So as long as you can make it through 30 innings, I think you're good to go. What was the song?
Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Elton John.
Unfamiliar.
Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
I feel like it doesn't sound like that at all. Is that how that can't be how it sounds?
It's a good song, but it wasn't really a Monday morning jam I was looking for being honest. I needed a little more oomph. A little more energy into the day.
Why?
Thank goodness Barbecue Fest doesn't exist on Sunday.
Smoke Slam? So did Smoke Slam not
I'm just calling
happen?
them the fests of barbecue.
Okay, so because Memphis and the
Smoke
National
Slam
Barbecue Fest usually happens on, like, they're cleaning up on Sunday. They get their awards and they're cleaning up
Saturday
on
is awards for all
Do
of
they
them.
do they get the awards on Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know.
'Cause I
Everyone's
thought-
cleaning up now.
All right.
The Meats! What's up, everybody? It is Monday, May 20th. Jessica Benson with you from the Grind City Media Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. CJ Hurt behind the glass. Coming up on today's show, the conference finals are set after we were blessed with 2 Game 7s on a Sunday. The Timberwolves came back down 20 to take down the Nuggets. The Pacers easily handled the broken Knicks. Pacers will play the Celtics. Timberwolves will play the Mavs. We will talk about it all. Gary Parrish will join us about 40 minutes in. We'll get his takes on all the NBA action from this weekend. And we will end with a little hot mess express from the day. We know the UK's sexiest men alive in 2024, and you will be shocked to find out who they are. There was a Bluey day gone wrong in Las Vegas. Speaking of Las Vegas, the Aces are under investigation. There was a NASCAR fight last night. Red Lobster is going bankrupt. We'll talk about it all. It'll be a good Monday. Let's go.
No! Come back! Come back! That is not what we say. That is not. Bring it back, Jacob. That is not what we say.
Bring it back. I'm so.
Everybody say it with her.
Everybody now. Cowabunga! Looking for a full court dining experience? Dribble over to Southland Casino Hotel, your ultimate gaming oasis in West Memphis. As a proud sponsor of the Memphis Grizzlies, we're inviting you to savor the flavors at our 8 incredible dining venues. Ignite Steakhouse is where culinary excellence gets grilled. Indulge in charcoal grilled steaks and farm-to-table favorites, perfectly paired with wine or handcrafted cocktails. Enjoy an all-access buffet experience at the Kitchens, or revel in comfort food and Southern classics at the Fry House. If casual is more your thing, sample the innovative fare at Seasons Cafe, while Chairman's Bar and Charred Oak Bourbon Bar serve up cocktails and live concerts every week. For those on the go, The Grind is your one-stop coffee shop with gourmet brews and grab-and-go goodies. And of course, we can't forget the Sports Bar and Grill, where you can catch all the Grizzlies action with the best pub fare in town. At Southland Casino Hotel, we've got the perfect dining experience for you, so come on down and ignite your taste buds today.
Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds. GVWR.
LifeCare Ambulance is proud to be an official partner of the Memphis Grizzlies and FedEx Forum. At LifeCare, they wear their hearts with pride. Their passion is their people. They want you to love what you do and where you do it. Their employee-driven culture encourages a healthy work-life balance and supportive work environment. They invest in your success and well-being so that you can provide the best care for the patients that they serve. Join the incredible team of EMTs and paramedics in Memphis, Nashville, and across the nation today. Learn more at lifecareamb.com.
There's no substitute for experience, the knowledge gained from having been there before, and the passion to share what you know to make everyone around you better. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by April 30th. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
This week, we're looking at our favorite black sitcoms. Mike, what do you got on your list?
It starts off with A Different World,
Okay.
the show that we're talking about.
I don't know. When's the last time you watched A Different World? Find it, watch it with the family. It is a phenomenal show, still to this day. Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
I mean, Chuck E. Cheese is rough. I don't know if you've been there in a while. They look like they're trying to go to business and they can't.
All new material.
They filed for bankruptcy and they're still open. They called Blockbuster and they're like, how do you get out? We want out.
Nate Bargatze. Friday, May 31st, FedEx Forum. Tickets available at FedEx Forum box office or Ticketmaster.com. Produced by Outback Presents. Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
Feels great to feel the sunshine. Gotta own the day like it's all mine. Just got paid in its own time. Been working hard, I've been on the grind. I deserve this feeling, having my way. I've been on this healing. This is my day. The sun's out, let's have a little fun now. I wanna let it all out. That's what it's all about. Cause I deserve this feeling, having my way. I deserve this healing. This is my day.
Grind City Media presents The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. Live from the Grind City Media Studios on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. I hope everybody had a great weekend. I am detoxing from all of the meat sweats that existed for a solid 3 days in the Battle of Barbecue Fest here in Memphis. CJ, we missed you at Barbecue Fest this week. You were deeply missed, but did you have a good weekend?
Oh, it was great. It was great.
Big baseball guy?
Huge.
I can tell.
Huge. My Cardinals got that series win against the Red Sox. I'm pretty sure they may have gotten the series sweep. Also, they got a big-time series against the Orioles. The Orioles are sitting there about a game and a half, I do believe, outside of first in the NL East. So this is a big-time game. So I watched 9.5 innings of baseball. So, and I think that's right. They
did not get the sweep because I saw that they lost yesterday.
They lost yesterday, so they won 2-1. They got the series win 2-1. I watched 9 innings. So I watched 8.5 innings of baseball because the game I went to was great. Saturday was incredible. 8th inning comes along. Cardinals pitted on them. My man knew, and the rest of them just couldn't miss swinging that bat. So they got the win there, and so they didn't play the bottom of the inning, so that is only 8.5 innings.
Home team won.
Home team won
for the home team.
While in St. Louis, we ended up grabbing ice cream from a cool ice cream shop, walking around this neighborhood, looking at the architecture of these homes. Beautiful. Stumbled across Lafayette Park or Lafayette Square. I can't remember what it's called, but it's Lafayette something, Park or Square. Walked into the park, and wouldn't you know it, a bunch of grown men dressed in 1897 baseball attire with no gloves. They're playing baseball like an organized baseball game. I'm talking 9-on-9. They're playing baseball. Their wives and children are sitting down in the stands watching them play. And by stands, I mean their lawn chairs. So you've got kids chasing cicadas on one end. And you've got the baseball being played with the rest of the family members drinking beers from the cooler, watching this baseball game. I was like, oh, this is wild. I got to stand and watch this. And so I watched the full inning of that also, which counts.
So
which
your
count.
inning counter is up.
I thought it was just a baseball inning counter. Can we change that? No, it's MLB. So then if it's MLB, my inning doesn't count.
I'll give you the extra because
So
it
are we
feels
counting
like you were
all of
back
it?
in
'Cause
time.
World Series is coming up. Little League World Series in August,
And
but
college
World
baseball.
Series is coming up. Do those count?
Yeah.
Because I will hop in there for softball and college baseball.
But I don't think we can count softball.
Why not?
It's a different game. The ball is a different size, CJ. In this situation, we are allowed to say it's a different softball, baseball. Do we want to just do
all ball?
all balls?
All ball.
How about just an inning counter? That keeps it all encompassing.
That's
Just
what
a
I would.
straight up inning
Jacob,
counter.
I'm sorry. You're going to have to change that graphic. We're just going to have to make it an
That's
inning
fine.
counter.
I'm very proud of you. I think if we got rid of all like Civil War reenactments and replaced them with gloveless 1800 baseball games, the world would be a better place.
And it looked like it was a game played in 1800.
I think, who says no?
Not a whole lot of colors out there.
Who says
there was
no?
no integration. Jackie Robinson hadn't come through just yet.
Tough. Yeah,
But it was good stuff.
That's fun. I'm glad that you were able to have a fun
How was
weekend.
Smoke Slam?
You have to say it right.
I don't have the voice. You have it.
Smoke Slam.
And last time you said Smoke Slam,
I know,
you
and
about
now I'm a
died.
little nervous because
Okay.
it almost happened again. I will say that this weekend in Memphis felt very much divorced parent energy. My friend Jalen put it perfectly that like she doesn't have divorced parents. I do, and this is exactly what it feels like when you're trying to split your time between two people that you love very, very much, and you cannot possibly be in one place enough, and to have to go back and forth between Liberty Park and Tom Lee Park, where Smoke Slam was a difficult, challenging experience. I gotta say the river is always gonna win in my eyes. I had a wonderful time at Memphis in May on Thursday. It still felt like very much like the Barbecue Fest environment, the vibe that we have grown to know and love, the party element of it over there. But being down on the river, I thought Smoke Slam was awesome. This was year one of it. My biggest takeaway was that if you didn't know a single soul at Smoke Slam with a tent, you could still go to Smoke Slam and have an awesome time. Like your ticket got you so many free samples, enough free samples that it felt like a whole meal. And shout out to the really cool people at Fragoni and Mad Scientist Barbecue. The guy from Fragoni's from Argentina. We are going to Argentina in the fall. They were kind enough to give us all kinds of recommendations while we were there, all kinds of free samples. We were stuffed with the meats, as you would say, and that is the symbol of a very good barbecue fest. But you didn't have to know people, and the exclusivity factor, I think, has kept a lot of people away from Barbecue Fest. I talked to a lot of first-timers down at the park who were like, I've always been really, what's the word? Not challenged, but just like nervous, like felt as if overwhelmed by the idea of what Barbecue Fest is. And they came down, and there were concerts. I saw the band War, Low Rider. They're like 75 years old, killing it. Saw St. Paul and the Broken Bones on Saturday. They put on an awesome show. And I just felt like the whole environment of it was so much more welcoming to all. And like, you're just never gonna beat being on that river. Like there was something magic about the smells of barbecue and being with friends and family. And we had a wonderful time with our friends who were at the Hog Wild tent. Shout out to them for feeding us and keeping us hydrated all weekend long. I hate that they've announced that both of these festivals are gonna be on the same day again next year, same days next year, because it feels like a beef that could just be solved with the love of pork for all. And we could have different weekends, bringing in more people, more dollars for the city, and instead we're going to be back in this competition divorced parent energy again next year. But Smoke Slam was great. Like, no complaints from me.
The International Barbecue Fest would do concerts also. I saw Coolio there, and then they would do like barbecue wrestling. They had events that would happen, especially pre-pandemic. Now, post-pandemic, that may have dialed back some, but like they had events like that. And I'm glad that both of them, from the way we talked off air about whatever the new one is over on Tiger Lane with the legacy tents.
World
Championship
Cooking Contest.
Well, I'm glad that both of them, from the sounds of it, had a good turnout. It's something about being on that river That river is important.
intoxicating.
That river makes everything a bit more fun, and the ambiance, the vibe, the feel of it is really important. It's really cool to be on the river, either listening to music, eating barbecue, or what have you. Honestly, I would like more festivals down there on the river. I think that is one of the big draws to Memphis. That's beautiful. I just left St. Louis. Everything is off of the river. Yeah. If you're going to a Blues game, or if you're going to see the Battlehawks, and they're really excited about the Battlehawks, if you're going to the Cardinals, the Arch, you're going to various places in St. Louis, well, a lot of that sits right there off of the river. It just adds a nice appeal to it. I would like more stuff, like festival-wise, to take place on the river. I think it will be fun. I hate I missed it. I love eating me some good barbecue. And that the thing I was kind of looking forward to seeing how they did was, how do they do the samples? Is that something that they can do?
Dude, those samples. I will be thinking about those samples for a long time. And oftentimes, sometimes when you hear free samples, they get phoned in, they feel mass produced. And I don't know if the numbers were higher in the future, like if there were more and more people trafficking those sample stations, if the quality would dip at all. But I mean, they're working all day churning out different stuff between pieces of ribs, brisket. I had this, I forget, picante. I don't know. It had a chimichurri sauce on it that was remarkable.
Picante?
Wings. Is picante a kind of meat?
I guess so.
Is it? Did Jacob say? Sure. No. Picante, chimichurri sauce. Had a barbecue pizza. Had just endless options of barbecue. A little sandwich the roll was so perfectly buttered. I swear, I felt like absolute death by Sunday, because I am now 32 years old, and 3 days of meats and 3 days of alcohol that goes with the meats is quite a lot. The men who get into barbecue, they are built different. Those old men that you see down on the river, and they're just ready. They're ready for day 4 on Sunday. If it was there for them, they would be all into it. But free samples are always going to be a easy key to my heart. And that's something that I think is unfortunate that Memphis and May didn't embark more on. I know you could always pay extra for the barbecue alley experience. We actually did that our first year here before we knew people with tents where we could go in and out. And that was always cool. But this is all day. You can be there cycling through those samples all day, and no one's going to cut you off. And actually, they're just very generous with it. So love free barbecue. Loved that. Did truly appreciate that we had all day Sunday off to enjoy 2 Game 7s. The best words in sports, CJ. Game 7.
I missed all of these.
No!
Yeah. Because I was out living life. I was out kicking it in the loop.
Congratulations. Humble brag.
How did we end up getting here? Because I feel like when I left, we were on Game 6s, weren't we?
Yeah, because you were gone on Friday.
Yeah.
Well, when you ask how did we end up getting here from the standpoint of Nuggets, Timberwolves, it really did feel as if, how did we end up getting here? Because we had so many different, felt like solidified versions of how this series was going to go. You have the Timberwolves win those first 2 games in Denver, and it feels like, oh my God, Minnesota is actually going to do this. Then Denver gets the 2 wins in Minnesota. Jokic looks unstoppable. They are the world beaters. He is the greatest player in the world. You get another win for the Nuggets in Game 5 back on their home court. Then they get absolutely steamrolled in Game 6 by the Timberwolves in Minnesota. That sets you up for Game 7 back at Ball Arena yesterday night. And that game was awesome. That series had not been full of great games. There were huge moments for both teams. But from a standpoint of a back and forth game going down to the wire, a 20-point comeback we sure as hell hadn't seen. We've never seen that in a Game 7 situation ever. But the way that game rose to the occasion, when it felt like it wasn't going to, because with, 10:50 to play in the third quarter, the Timberwolves trailed the Nuggets 58-38. I was beginning to plan my exit from that game. 58
No, the whole thing.
To
what
38.
Quarter?
Third quarter.
Wait. Hold on.
Yes.
In the year 2024
yes. Correct.
Of our Lord, 10 minutes left in the third quarter.
Yes.
The score was what?
58-38.
They only had 38 points in the third?
Mm-hmm.
What? Mm-hmm. And they won?
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me?
They were...
What did they have at half?
38, CJ. They hadn't scored.
They hadn't scored?
They had not scored.
They had 38 points and a half?
38
And
points
then
and a
the
half.
third. Whoa.
38 points and a half. And then the Timberwolves proceeded to go on a 60-32 run. You think 38 points in the first half is bad for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Can I interest you in 37 second half points for the Denver Nuggets? 37 second half points. It is a 30-point swing overall within that game. And it was the 6th time that the Timberwolves held the Nuggets to under 100 points this season. The rest of the NBA combined to hold the Denver Nuggets to under 100 points. 6 total times, grand total of 6 times from any NBA team not named the Minnesota Timberwolves. And the Timberwolves themselves did it 6 times. And they did it in Game 7 on the road, having trailed by 20 points with 10 minutes and 50 seconds left in the third quarter. I'm sorry, I'm getting choked up about it. It's a little emotional. We had never seen something like this before. The Timberwolves had trailed by 15 at half. It's the biggest comeback in a second half. It's the biggest comeback in a Game 7. Watching it was truly stunning. Like, you did not think that this was really going to happen for the Timberwolves until it did. And you're reminded that the Timberwolves were built to beat Denver. That was my greatest takeaway last night. This team was constructed to beat Denver. The architect behind the Nuggets then moved over to the Minnesota Timberwolves and built this team. The importance of keeping Naz Reid, who had a huge second half. This was a narrative-changing type game for Karl Anthony Towns, for Rudy Gobert. Those 3, along with the length of Jayden McDaniels, the defense of Anthony Edwards. If you needed a reminder that size matters, say it with me now, size matters. The Minnesota Timberwolves proved that with their win over the Nuggets yesterday.
If you had told me on Wednesday, hey, CJ, the Wolves are going to force a Game 7, I was like, okay, I can see it. That's fine. And then in Game 7, Anthony Edwards will give you 16, and in the third quarter, they'll only have 38 points. I'll be like, oh, they're getting waxed.
Yes.
Easy. Give me the Nuggets. Give me the Nuggets and all of the money. The fact that they won that game is shocking to me, given everything else that transpired. That is, oh boy, I left, they're pointing out in the chat, I left thinking that Jokic was preordained to hoist the, and I feel like rightfully so. I would think that after 5-6 games, watching them go through and dominate, and for them to fall apart like that, that is alarming.
I mean, they were so prepared to, and by they, I mean the basketball fan collective, were so prepared to hate on the Minnesota Timberwolves. And yesterday was a generational day of hate on Twitter because, one, you're stomping on the graves of dynasties. The Timberwolves beating the Nuggets guarantees that for a 6th straight year, we'll have a different champion in the NBA. Chris Luther would like to remind you that the last team to be a great American dynasty is the Golden State Warriors. But we are existing into this new realm where we're reminded just how hard it is to go back-to-back. But Karl Anthony Towns was sitting in the stands before the games. And I saw picture after picture just dunking on Karl Anthony Towns, making fun of Karl Anthony Towns. And there was nothing to laugh at Cat about by the end of that night. Like the physicality, the way he was glued to Jokic, pushing Jokic to the brink. Karl Anthony Towns had Jokic so tired. He was hallucinating horses by the end of that game because of the way that Karl Anthony Towns played them. And the Timberwolves were lucky to have 38 points in the first half of that game, and it was mostly because of the offense of Karl Anthony Towns. They could have been down 30. They could have been down in a hole so big that there was no way for them to dig it back up. And people just, Karl Anthony Towns is one of those players that brings out the hate in people. But yesterday was, in my opinion, a narrative needle point mover. Like, you can't look at yesterday's game and not give Karl Anthony Towns a hell of a lot of credit. You also can't do it for Rudy Gobert, another one of those ultimate pour up the haterade type guys that everybody is ready to pounce on another moment of Rudy Gobert. And you know when I knew this game was over, CJ? Right there. Rudy Gobert, turn around, fade away, swish. Do you know who that is on the bench cheering on Rudy Gobert?
No, who?
I would give you 100 guesses. I don't think you'd figure it out. It's Josh Minott, former Memphis Tiger.
Oh!
Josh Minott giving the best of bench reactions, and that was everybody reacting to Rudy Gobert, making the turnaround fadeaway. If Rudy Gobert is going to make a shot like that, like anything's possible. It feels like you've entered fairy tale land. Because the first half of that game, Rudy Gobert once again feels like an offensive liability. They're drawing up post-ups for Rudy Gobert, and you're screaming at your TV, why? And then in the second half. That came right after he had like the changing hands layup and one. Then he hits that shot. I was like, But that's exactly the shot that the Nuggets would want Rudy Gobert to have to take. Jokic, hand in the face, and he's just going to make it.
Fade away, wrong foot. Like, if he makes that, he makes it.
It's different. We'll talk more about the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards had some all-time moments. He was mic'd up. He had a rough shooting night, like you said. 16 points on 24 shots. Would have assumed that meant doom and gloom for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Had some big moments. They continue onward. They will face the Mavs in the Western Conference Finals. We'll talk about the other games from over the weekend after a quick break.
Actual good shoe.
Yeah, it looks like a good shoe.
Real good shoe. What you think about him, KJ?
She likes Cheetos.
Like Cheetos?
Yeah,
you
or
like
nay.
You like Cheetos?
For kids, yeah or nay.
That's what I mean. For kids,
For kids,
1,000%.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I was still playing basketball, I played in brightly colored shoes. I wore pink shoes a lot of the time or purple shoes. Like, I like that.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
I've cuddled a time or two in my life.
We are the right.
I've cuddled too.
I've cuddled a time
we're the
or two
right
in my life.
heights. We're the right just
Yeah,
size
and
in
I think
general.
sometimes you're cuddling and you're like, man, I don't know if this fits the right way.
Or I was with someone who had like a baseball injury once, and so like his arm couldn't handle, like he physically couldn't.
He had to say, I would love to cuddle you, but I tore my
can't.
rotator
I
cuff.
physically cannot.
What a wild deal.
The Gary Parrish Show, live weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
I mean, Chuck E. Cheese is rough. I don't know if you've been there in a while. They look like they're trying to go to business and they can't.
All new material.
They filed for bankruptcy and they're still open. They called Blockbuster and they're like, how do you get out? We want out.
Nate Bargatze, Friday, May 31st, FedEx Forum. Tickets available at FedEx Forum box office or Ticketmaster.com. Produced by Outback Presents Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
Lindsey Harding has gotten a chance to interview for the Charlotte Hornets vacancy.
She's proven that she could coach on the men's side. She's done a fantastic job and got this G League opportunity and was Coach of the Year. This is fantastic for women's basketball.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Let's talk about MVPs.
Let's do it. I went with the Joker.
Oh my God,
Nikola Jokic.
Nikola freaking Jokic.
Every time I watch him play, I am so impressed.
I'm obsessed with him.
Yeah.
Everything he does works. He can pass, he can shoot, he can rebound, he can drive, he can defend. Like, he can do everything.
He can lead the fast break, and he's like 7-1.
IMHO with Lang Whitaker and me, Kelsey Wright Johnson, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
I moved, I have a house now, house maintenance.
That's true.
Oh, homeowners association.
Homeowners association.
That was what your mom wanted to talk to me about. She was so proud that not only are you on the homeowner association, that you go to the meetings and you know every issue.
We've had speed bump problems.
The Chris Vernon Show, presented by Caesars Sportsbook, live weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Funny thing about gas, people constantly complain about the price of gas. Those same people that will complain about paying $2.80 for a gallon of gas
will drive
pay
right around the corner. Yeah.
$9 for a cup this big.
Yep. I am people.
Can you believe these gas prices? Give me a $12 cup of coffee.
I am those people.
It's wild out there, man.
The Gary Parrish Show, live weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back. CJ, I have a question for you. What? Do you think more Memphians are happy for Mike Conley's success? Mike Conley, who got his first Game 7 win last night. Mike Conley, who returned to the Minnesota Timberwolves, was instrumental in them being able to get this series down the stretch. Not leading them, but being a part of them getting to the Western Conference Finals. Do you think more Memphians are happy for Mike Conley, or mad that the Timberwolves got to the conference finals before this iteration of the Grizzlies did?
Happy for Conley.
You think so?
This city, I think that. I don't know. But I think that this city with those players and in the core for the players who will have their jerseys retired, I think they just have such an affinity for them that they want them to be successful. This Grizzlies fans were genuinely excited and rooting for the Raptors when the Raptors faced off against the Warriors. Why? Sure, it's the Warriors, and they had crushed a whole lot of dreams and hopes across the Western Conference. But I feel like mostly to see Marc Gasol get something that had eluded him and to get that championship and then to be validated as a really, really good quality big that the city can lay claim to. I think it's the same thing for Mike Conley. It's not like Mike Conley left here under any sort of like scandal or some sort of beef with the franchise or the city. And it was hey, I need to leave. It's time. They're rebuilding. It's time for me to go. And I want to get some of the accolades that I deserve. Mike Conley felt like he was one of the best point guards in the league, but because he played in the West, he wasn't getting those types of accolades. He wasn't getting the All-Stars because James Harden, Steph Curry, Chris Paul, et cetera, were all ahead of him on the point guard spot. So he wasn't getting All-NBAs. He wasn't getting NBA All-Stars. He only had one trip to a conference final. He hadn't gotten a trip to the NBA finals. And to see him get this late into his career, somebody who I think most people would say is a good dude. Jokic said it, went out of his way yesterday to say, Mike Conley is a good dude. I love his game, and I love what he does. Mike Conley, who still to this day, unless he got one yesterday, doesn't have a technical foul on his resume, if I'm not mistaken. Mike Conley has never gotten a tech, right? Seeing that person be successful, it reminds you that, hey, good people do sometimes get good things. Good guys don't always have to finish last. And I think that the city will embrace that. Now, I don't know if they'll pull for the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
They'll pull for Mike, though.
Mike Conley, all-around NBA good guy. Like you said, I don't think, and I never speak on behalf of everybody because that sets you up for failure, but more than not would say, Mike Conley, good dude. I do think Memphis can be a petty city. And sometimes pettiness can outweigh your love and adoration and respect for a player like Mike Conley. And there is a difficulty in rooting for the we in Minnesota now, Minnesota Timberwolves, because it includes Karl Anthony Towns, because it includes Rudy Gobert, and because it includes Anthony Edwards, a player who I love watching. I have made it perfectly clear that I think American superstars are in great hands, and Anthony Edwards plays a massive part in that. You watch him last night, and even on a rough shooting night, his defense is there through it. He had some timely moments, the big steal on Jamal Murray with the dunk the other way. He made the three that put them up 10. He allowed himself to be mic'd up that entire game. Not every player is out there saying, yes, please, mic me up. He had the little moment with the fans that went viral, and then he had the interview afterwards with Charles Barkley, where Charles Barkley is trying to tell him that he hasn't been in Minnesota for 20 years, even though Charles Barkley was at a Minneapolis Final Four 5 years ago, but Auburn lost, so he's probably like erased it from his memory. And what does Anthony Edwards say? Bring your ass. Just straight in the moment. Again, showing this he's a very lovable character in the NBA universe right now, unless you're a team like the Memphis Grizzlies, where you have to reckon with this 22-year-old taking his veteran-laden team to the Western Conference
Hold on,
Finals.
let's change that narrative. All right, I didn't watch the game. Okay, so I looked at the box score. Did he take them? Did he?
I think he sets the tone. He sets the tone for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
He had one 40-point game this series, right? And wasn't that in a loss? So, how good was he in this series? I feel like we are jumping the gun because we need that American-born superstar to care about.
Fair.
We need that. We're jumping the gun a bit on Anthony Edwards. The game was won not because Anthony Edwards was out there, right? That game was won because the Timberwolves as a whole played really, really good defense on the other guys. When you say they're built to stop the Nuggets, they're not built to stop Jokic because he's 35. They're not built to stop Murray.
Aaron Gordon, who's 2 of 5.
Great.
KCP, who's 2 of 7.
Yes.
Michael Porter Jr., who's 3 of 12.
Everybody else, and the dudes coming off the bench. That's who they're built to stop. They're not built to stop the superstars on that team. And if you are Anthony Edwards, superstar, and he's a superstar now because he's got the stats and people like him, fine. You got to stop that. You've got to be better than that. And you tell me who performed better in that game. Granted, they lost.
Carl Anthony Towns.
No. Don't talk to me about everybody else. I want to know Anthony Edwards and the other two for the Nuggets. Who performed better in that game? Anthony Edwards, Jokic, Murray. Who performed better in that game?
You have
Who
to separate it out
performed
because
better in the series?
Murray came out looking like Kobe Jamal Murray, playoff Jamal Murray in the first half, and then was all but bottled up in the second half. I think Murray had 25 of his 35. Jayden McDaniels.
Okay, so that wasn't
everyone.
Edwards. That wasn't Edwards.
Yes, it was.
That wasn't Edwards.
Anthony Edwards was on him a lot last night. He locked him up. Anthony Edwards is coming up saying, I forget what the exact quote was, like, I locked Murray up. Anthony Edwards, the reason why you can still say that he was instrumental in the Timberwolves winning is because your superstar, and I'm not going to put quotes, your superstar in training, in the making, in the right now, in the present, is not a defensive liability. And that's one of the things that allows the Timberwolves defense to function in the way that it is. He has just as much length. He has just as much defensive IQ as the rest of that group. There's no drop off. I think that's where you continue to say, like, Anthony Edwards played an integral part. And I do think he sets the tone for the team. Because what has Karl Anthony Towns been accused of being for the last 9 years in Minnesota? Soft. He's not someone who can win. He's not a winner. And I think Anthony Edwards makes Gobert, makes the players around him more of a winner.
Okay. All right.
And I'm excited to see him against the Mavs. And that team against the Mavs.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And it'll be good to see what happens now with the Mavs, who, listen, if your big is your leading scorer, fine. If your big is one of your leading scorers, fine. If you're big coming off the bench for an entire series, it's one of your leading scorers, probably your most impactful, most important player, like Derek Lively was in that series against the Thunder, that's real interesting. I think that says more about the Thunder and their issues than it does about how good Lively is and how good the Mavericks are. So now that they're playing a team with some size inside, with, you brought it up, Reed and Anderson coming off the bench along with Cat and Gobert in the starting lineup, let's see what happens, because I think the Mavericks will have to lean almost exclusively, entirely on the scoring prowess of Luka. I don't think Kyrie can facilitate anymore. Kyrie, and then coming off the bench, you'll need to get some type of scoring, some type of punch from somebody like a Tim Hardaway Jr. or from a Dante Exum. This is going to be fun to sit down and watch. That Timberwolves defense is really good.
I know. And Derek Lively deserves a hell of a lot of respect. Being a rookie, we talked so much about that Thunder team being the youngest team in the NBA playoffs, but Derek Lively was the youngest player in that series. And coming off the bench, he played 30 minutes in that Game 6 win that the Mavs end up winning by 1. And between him and PJ Washington, which looks like the most important addition perhaps of the season in the NBA, and PJ Washington with the wherewithal to miss the free throw when he needed it down the stretch, was massive. It was the role players for the Mavs who were able to carry them into the conference finals. And I think that's the biggest bright spot, if you're Dallas, is you did not need Luka Doncic to throw on the Superman cape, because I don't know if he was physically in a spot where he could do full superhero Luka mode. Kyrie Irving is not at the place in his career maybe where he can go full superhero Kyrie mode. And it was all those role players that allowed Dallas to get past the young Thunder that have some problem spots in their roster of their own that they're going to have to figure out how to address. The West is just crazy, though, man. Like, I do think from a standpoint of, like, the Grizzlies' perspective, I'm intrigued by how Derek Lively's been in the playoffs, because he's a rookie, because he is young, because they got him with the 12th pick, because they tanked at the end of last season to make sure that they were able to keep their pick so that they could take a rookie big in Derek Lively. And the Grizzlies are going to be in a position where perhaps on draft night with the 9th pick, if they don't trade it, they could find a front court solution of their own. Someone who maybe doesn't need to start, maybe comes off the bench, but could be a net positive in their playoff hopes next season. I think there have been a lot of intriguing things for the Grizzlies to look at in this playoffs. You never want to be a prisoner of the moment, but we've seen what works.
If you have your core, now it's just about grabbing the ancillary pieces and figuring out how best to do that. And the Mavericks and the Timberwolves and the Nuggets have their core. And it's a damn good core for all of those teams. Throw in the Celtics also. All of those teams have a damn good core. And I think that if you look at the core of the Grizzlies, the youthfulness in age, but the oldness in experience, right? Like, this is a Grizzlies team who their core has been to 3 playoff series, has faced 4 or 5 elimination type games, right? Like, that is important. So they're young and they have that experience. Now it's just about, hey, we've got the core. Let's find ways to get the ancillary pieces around that. And I'm with you. That's been a very, very intriguing thing to me also. On Grizzbeat, maybe 2 weeks ago, Jarvis, Mike, and the panel, they were talking about the highest salaries per team in the NBA. And they threw a graphic up, and going into the second round of the playoffs, 2 teams in the top 10 in NBA spending as far as salaries go that made it that far. And it was the Nuggets and the Celtics. Now it's just one. Only one of those teams in the top 10 in spending in the NBA have made it to a conference final this year. So I think that buying your way to championships is not going to be able to work anymore. It's got to be, how are you built? And the first thing you got to do, get your star player. Do the Grizzlies have that? Check. Do you have 2 really, really good role players? Do the Grizzlies have that? Check. And a defensive player of the year and somebody who is a fringe all-star, somebody in Desmond Bane who is routinely at the tops of the NBA in three-point percentage and three-point makes, right? So now it is, all right, we've got that. What else can we do to build around that, and how do you go about doing it? Do you go through the draft, get you somebody like a Lively, like a Christian Brown, who went from winning a championship in Kansas to being a part of a championship team in Denver and almost getting back to an NBA Finals? Like, you can do that in his second year in the NBA. You can do that. Yeah. You have to be smart about what you're doing with the draft pick, though, and you can also address these needs by free agency and by trade, right? There's an infinite possibility of things that can happen between now and the start of next season. I would again encourage Grizzlies fans to explore all of them. Don't get fixated on one. Don't be like, oh, if we just draft this guy, then this. No. Draft this guy, trade this, move this, bring in this in free agency. Get wild with it. Let's go, because that's what you have to do.
The Memphis Grizzlies, explore all possibilities.
I explore possibilities this morning.
Even shoot for the moon, even when you miss. Yesterday was the first day in NBA history where 2 road teams won Game 7s after the Pacers got it done at Madison Square Garden. ESPN did not seem particularly ready for a Pacers win, or maybe they just really, really were rooting against a Pacers win, because we know the New York bias is alive. And while watching that broadcast last night, listening to that broadcast, it felt like a Knicks broadcast. And that is a shame. If you were an Indiana Pacers fan, I would feel some kind of way. I'd also feel some kind of way about the graphic that ESPN popped up when the Pacers advanced, because this graphic looks like it was made on PowerPoint. What are we doing? What are we doing here? And I know we're talking about a graphic, but it's the Indy and it's the pictures used and it's the advancing placement, and just all of this looks like something I learned in a Microsoft class in 2008 at Thunder Ridge High School. But shout out to the Indiana Pacers, who, yes, got to face the Bucks without Giannis and Dame. Yes, got to face the band-aided Knicks. So what? Who cares? They got the win. Windsor, and they are able to go face the Boston Celtics. It would be, if we are rooting for funniest things possible to perhaps happen in the conference finals, the Pacers beating the Celtics, or the Pacers even pushing the Celtics, will allow for a couple of giggles along the way. I will say, for the Knicks, the story is that the Knicks were broken, and you cannot convince me otherwise that it does not have at least something to do with the Tibbs game plan of 48 minutes for all season long. In an 82-game season into a long postseason, we have seen this before with Tibbs coached teams. He brings out a great culture. The players appreciate that culture, and we even heard the Knicks after last night's loss talking about how great it was to get up, to play for this team, to play in front of these fans at Madison Square Garden. You get the best out of your players, and then you get to the postseason, and it's Humpty Dumpty. It's Humpty Dumpty yet again, and it starts with Julius Randle and Bojan Bogdanovic being out before it begins. You have Mitchell Robinson gets hurt in Game 1. You have OG Anunoby getting hurt in Game 2. You have Josh Hart, who was hurt but still went into play yesterday, lasted 4 minutes before he had to leave the game. Jalen Brunson, who has been hobbled, fractures his hand in yesterday's game, and they're broken. And it's really hard to win a series. It's really hard to go to the conference finals to compete for an NBA championship when almost all of your starters are out. That's just a fact. So we will see how the Pacers fare against the Celtics. We will welcome in Gary Parrish after a quick break. We'll talk to him about all the NBA playoff action, see what he got into this weekend after a quick break. Dining experience? Dribble over to Southland Casino Hotel, your ultimate gaming oasis in West Memphis. As a proud sponsor of the Memphis Grizzlies, we're inviting you to savor the flavors at our 8 incredible dining venues. Ignite Steakhouse is where culinary excellence gets grilled. Indulge in charcoal grilled steaks and farm-to-table favorites, perfectly paired with wine or handcrafted cocktails. Enjoy an all-access buffet experience at the kitchens, or revel in comfort food and southern classics at the Fry House. If casual is more your thing, sample the innovative fare at Seasons Cafe, while Chairman's Bar and Charred Oak Bourbon Bar serve up cocktails and live concerts every week. For those on the go, The Grind is your one-stop coffee shop with gourmet brews and grab-and-go goodies. And of course, we can't forget the Sports Bar and Grill, where you can catch all the Grizzlies action with the best pub fare in town. At Southland Casino Hotel, we've got the perfect dining experience for you, so come on down and ignite your taste buds today.
Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
LifeCare Ambulance is proud to be an official partner of the Memphis Grizzlies and FedEx Forum. At LifeCare, they wear their hearts with pride. Their passion is their people. They want you to love what you do and where you do it. Their employee-driven culture encourages a healthy work-life balance and supportive work environment. They invest in your success and well-being so that you can provide the best care for the patients that they serve. Join the incredible team of EMTs and paramedics in Memphis, Nashville, and across the nation today. Learn more at lifecareamb.com.
Anticipate each challenge. Make a quick response. Capitalize on every opportunity. And win. Greatness won't wait. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by April 30th. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
This is an actual good shoe.
Yeah, it looks like
this
a good
is
shoe.
real good shoe. What you think about him, KJ? She likes Cheetos. Like Cheetos?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
nice.
Cheetos.
You like Cheetos?
For
kids,
yeah. That's what I mean. For kids, 1,000%.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I was still playing basketball, I played in brightly colored shoes. I wore pink shoes a lot of the time or purple shoes. Like, I like that.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
This week, we're looking at our favorite black sitcoms. Mike, what do you got on your list?
It starts off with A Different World,
Okay.
the show that we're talking about.
I don't know. When's the last time you watched A Different World? Find it, watch it with the family. It is a phenomenal show, still to this day. Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
I've cuddled a time or two in my life.
We are the right.
I've cuddled too.
I've cuddled a
We're
time
the
or
right
two in my life.
heights. We're the right just
Yeah,
size
and
in
I think
general.
sometimes you're cuddling and you're like, man, I don't know if this fits the right way.
Or I was with someone who had like a baseball injury once, and so like his arm couldn't handle, like he physically couldn't.
He had to say, I would love to cuddle you, but I tore my
can't.
rotator
I
cuff.
physically cannot.
What a wild deal.
The Gary Parrish Show, live weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back. It is Monday. That means it is time to catch up with Gary Parrish, host of the Gary Parrish Show, weekday mornings on Grind City Media. GP in the Memphis Showboats shirt.
I'm supporting the Showboats.
The 1 in 7
the previous
Memphis showboats.
The previous incarnation of the showboats. I don't rock with the new showboats.
Not the new boats.
I just rock with the old boats.
You just like the old boats.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on one of the boats out on the Mississippi River?
I have never been on I've been on a boat on the river, but not Memphis. It was a cruise, and we got, I think, New Orleans, and I think we spent time in the Mississippi River before we got to the ocean. Is that true? Is that the way you do it?
Yeah, I did the cruise too.
Yeah. So I did that one time, but I've never done like a river cruise or something. Should I? Should I have done that?
I don't know. I was having an illuminated conversation with a group of people at 11 p.m. on Friday at Barbecue Fest down on the river, which is where all great conversations and ideas are born. And we were saying, as a group, we really wanted to get out on one of those Memphis showboats.
I've done it.
You've done it.
I've done it.
Is it fun?
It's fun. It's fun. It's a nice, relaxing way to spend like a Sunday afternoon, evening. I think we did like a brunch or something like that. And you're just sitting out on the river. You don't get to see the city from the river's viewpoint unless you're on a boat, right? And it's fun to get out there and see that, sit there with your loved one, talk, and look at the skyline as you float up and down the Mississippi.
There you go.
I want a kayak on the Mississippi
I've done
River.
that.
I've had some friends who've done that.
Not fun.
Really?
It's called, that feels like work to me. But me and Jeff Calkins did it. They said, oh man, it's so fun, you should be in the kayak race. I said, they kept saying it was fun. That's how they sold me on it. They said
but doesn't Jeff like do bike races and stuff? I feel like he gets into that kind of stuff.
He and I have different ideas of what fun is. Yeah, I didn't realize. And so he was like, it's for a good cause and it's a lot of fun. I said, well, I like to help people when I can, and I enjoy fun, so let's do it. And it was, I was maybe in that thing 10 minutes, and I realized this ain't for me.
This isn't fun.
This is not fun. This is the opposite of fun. It's a lot of this, you know? It's a lot of that. I don't want to do that. That's not fun to me. that's not how I have
Especially
fun.
if you're racing. I did canoeing and Shelby Farms, right? And we just, 1, 2, all right, put the paddles down. Let's sit here and float.
No,
for a
you have
little
to
bit.
keep doing it. The whole time. You have to keep. It's
if
not
you're fighting
fun.
against a current.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
I think we were going. Which way does the current go? South?
I'm not sure.
I think we were going north.
When
maybe.
I look at that Mississippi River, it feels like the current's going north, south, east,
I
west,
don't
northwest,
understand it.
north, south.
I don't understand
Gary,
it.
you ever did paddle boating?
Not on purpose.
Yeah, that's work.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's getting Shelby Farms again, date. Hey, let's go ride the paddle boats. Sure. She's not paddling though. I'm the one doing all the paddling.
No,
It's
I like
ridiculous.
my boats to have motors. Yeah. I want to get on motorized things. It's 2024.
I love motorboats.
I like. Okay.
Deep motorboats. My mom's friends all have those like electric bikes, the e-bikes, and they go on big biking trips. But I feel like if I'm going to go on a trip like that, I want to do the work. Chris and I were just talking about this last night because I have this weird vision that someday I'm going to do one of the crazy hikes with a backpack, like either the Pacific Coast Trail or there's one in, I think it's Portugal, called the Camino de Santiago.
Yeah.
It's like a month-long hike with a backpack.
Yeah.
And I think that sounds awesome.
Okay.
But he's like, no, you don't. He's like,
Yeah.
I know you. Like, where are you going to sleep? In a tent? No, you're not.
Right.
Where's your hairdryer going to go? You're not going to have one. You're going to complain. I was complaining down at Barbecue Fest. My feet hurt.
Yeah.
It's like, what's going to happen when your feet hurt in the middle of the trail in the wilderness and there's no one there to save you?
Yeah, some people
Because he's not going to be there.
Right, yeah. Some people like to sleep in tents and stuff. I like to sleep at, like, Westons.
I like luxury hotels.
Me too. I like the autograph collection.
I love to say this bed feels like a cloud.
Yeah, I like Ritz-Carltons.
Oh, that would be preferable.
Yeah.
In my future life, I would really like to be like a part of the Ritz Club.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
That's what
where
I
they know
like.
your name.
Yeah, I don't, because Ritz actually falls under the Marriott umbrella.
Right.
Then, like, I can.
Sometimes you can ride that Marriott wave.
Yeah, and you stay there off of points, and they're nice. I understand why people like to go there. They're nice. I have a good time every time.
Did you go to any of the barbecue fest this weekend?
No, I stayed around the house most
That's
of the
good because you
weekend.
told me that you were going to text Bennett and I if you did, and I would have been really disappointed to find out.
No, if I would have gone, I would have texted for
Okay.
sure. I had a buddy of mine had a birthday gathering, I think at our age, my age. I don't want to mix you in with my age.
There's a difference.
At my age, we have gatherings more than
Yeah.
parties. So I had a birthday gathering on Friday. Saturday just sort of hung around the house. Sunday morning played golf and then, watch golf and basketball. I was kind of just around. I didn't do much.
What's the difference between a gathering and a party?
I think a gathering is just like nobody's trying to make something pop off. You know, we're just sort of spending time with each other. Nobody's trying to outdo anybody. It never occurred to anybody to say, "You want a shot?" You know, like that. None of those things never happen. Everybody just drinks at their own pace, and you know, and then you go home at a reasonable hour.
Yeah.
That's a gathering.
Okay. When's the last time you took a shot?
That's interesting. I don't recall.
Oh. CJ,
Yeah.
when's the last time you took a shot?
I think I took one. If I can't go to sleep, I'll take a shot of whiskey or two. And so I think I took one in like January or something like that.
If I can't sleep, I binge drink.
Yeah, like you drink until you fall asleep, right? Like so I take a shot, and then if I don't go to sleep, I wake up and I take another shot.
It never occurs to me. I understand I can't sleep. I might have a drink. I understand that. It's never occurred to me. I can't drink. Let's get the shot glasses out. I don't go that route. That's not the route. But I admire.
Yeah, like
it
a sipping
on some level.
shot.
But I don't chase I don't like mixed drinks.
Right.
So if I'm drinking, it's just straight.
You're trying to get to it.
Yeah, listen. I don't chase my women. I don't chase my liquor. Like, let's just get straight to it.
Let's
And
get
so
straight
I just
to it. I respect that.
knock 2 shots out.
That's
and go
fine
to
with
sleep.
me.
I just have
respect
this
it.
theory that nobody actually likes to take shots.
Oh, we
and
used to
yet we just get bamboozled into doing it.
When we were discussing.
Yeah, but then you get called out.
When we were discussing,
take a
If
shot.
you're gonna do the shot, you got to
Yeah,
do the shot.
come on.
We were when my wife and I were discussing the possibility of going to Barbecue Fest, like just the idea of it. Is that something we should?
We're like,
is
well,
that-
I really don't want to get peer pressured into taking a shot.
Is that but like we were reminiscing about
Yeah.
the good old days, and she pointed out, she's like, remember there used to be like an ice luge.
Yes.
And people would pour alcohol down a block of ice,
Yes.
and you'd put your mouth up against it,
Yeah.
and then a totally different person would put their mouth in the exact same
disgusting,
place,
Gary.
and then another person would, and then we would do this.
I think that's how I got mono in 2012.
right.
Okay?
So here's my question: do people still do that?
Yes, we did it last year.
How about that?
At Barbecue Fest.
It seems wild. It seems like a wild thing to do. You know, looking back on it.
The sanitary element of it,
Yeah.
especially post-COVID, we learned. If there is anything I learned from the COVID experience, is that nobody learned anything when it comes
Sure.
to germs. We were just like, back to normal, because next thing you know, you're standing in front of an ice luge saying, yes, please let me stand under this.
Load it up. Pour another
This
one.
liquor river that's going to come
Get the
under
liquor
ice.
river straight into your mouth.
Doesn't the liquor river like kill the germs?
I hope
That's
so.
what I told myself.
Yeah.
I remember saying that
Because
over and over
all you
again.
need it to be is like 70% alcohol, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, but listen, we survived it, right?
We survived.
We survived it. I'm not sure everybody did, but we did.
Not sure
it's just
either.
so I've taken a shot between my Liquor River experience and present day. There have been shots in there, but I'm not the guy who walks into the bar and be like, "You want to get a shot?" Like it seems
Yeah.
like a weird thing for somebody my age to do.
Oh yeah, if I'm at a bar and someone orders
Like, if
shots,
somebody
that's like
my
the
age-
good
if you-
night time.
If you saw
No, thank
somebody
you.
my age just sitting at a bar ordering shots, you'd have real opinion about
I
them.
think you had problems.
Yeah, right. I don't do
It
that.
might not be fair.
Yeah.
But I would come to assumptions.
Yeah.
That's fun though. I did that. A buddy of mine came into town maybe November, December, late November, early December, and we went to a bar and we were just buying shots. That was fun.
That's fine. I took it from a standpoint of picture Gary in a bar. Let's say there's a group of like me and my female friends all in a bar, and some slightly older gentleman at the
All
bar
right.
orders
It sounds
us
better
around of
coming out of my
shots,
mouth.
and none of us really particularly were interested in having shots
Right.
that night. I would make assumptions about
Of course.
that person
Of
and
course.
his intentions.
Yeah.
Not matter.
And it would be fair.
Even if you're just trying to be nice.
It'd be fair. It's all.
But on the flip side, someone came by on the river at Smoke Slam and was like, Jessica, love your show. You want a Jell-O shot?
Yeah.
I was like, yes,
course, sure.
of course, thank you. And that was nice.
Could have been laced with fentanyl.
I was like, if this is how I go, this is an horrible way. I went from my own ego of someone saying, hey, I like your show. Here's a random Jell-O shot.
Right.
Honestly, it would be very on brand. I feel like that's exactly how I meant to
If they
go
ever
in this
start lacing
universe.
Jell-O shots of fentanyl, it's over for you white
It's
women.
over. specifically at a barbecue fest though, because I'm not like seeking out Jell-O shots in my day-to-day
Right.
life ever, please. But there's just something about Jell-O on the river that just is different.
Jell-O
you know?
shots are hard to turn down.
They really are.
I can turn them down.
But there can be really bad Jell-O shots in the world too.
Yeah. It's also
Not laced with fentanyl, just made poorly.
But the other, I don't really understand why people get so excited about Jell-O shots. You ever see people get excited about them?
Yeah, I saw it happen all weekend.
I know, but why are people so excited about them?
I think we like Jell-O. Okay, let's break this down.
Okay.
How often are you eating Jell-O?
Never.
Exactly.
All right.
So you get excited about Jell-O, which I think is a criminally underrated snack. Not a dessert, because no one is saying, like, I want a little treat
Does
and
Jell-O
getting
even
Jell-O.
taste good?
It does.
Does
And I like the consistency
Are
of
you
Jell-O.
ever like sitting around on a Thursday and like, man, I'd really like some Jell-O right now?
No, but I feel like I could, but that's the thing. So then when you get the opportunity to have something Jell-O-ic, you're like, yes, please, a Jell-O shot.
But it's like, it's not, they don't really get you, like you'd have to do 40 Jell-O shots to get somewhere, wouldn't you?
No, it's about the Jell-O. It's not about the shot. You're excited about the Jell-O.
But if you just if I was walked around the studio right now with Jell-O and just be like, hey, anybody want some Jell-O?
I don't think I would ever turn down Jell-O.
If
But
I
I'm not
walked in here
offered
with Jell-O this morning and offered it to you, you'd think that's weird and you wouldn't
If it was
want
red, I would probably eat it. If it was blue, I'd probably eat it.
But you're not craving Jell-O.
No.
Like if I walked in
But
here
that's what makes it special.
with chicken biscuits, you'd be like, oh, I'd like a chicken biscuit for breakfast.
Honestly, right now, a Jell-O sounds better than a chicken biscuit. I don't want to eat anything fried or meat related for the next 5 days. A Jell-O sounds cleansing.
I just feel like, here's what I think. I think Jell-O shots are a little bit like sushi in the sense that people, you just stay with me.
I'm listening.
Stay with me. People feel like they're supposed to get excited about the idea of them, so they express that. But if we're being honest, you shouldn't get that excited about these things being in your presence because it's not that big of a deal.
I love sushi.
I know you do, and I enjoy it as well. But here's the thing. If I were to tell you, I noticed this a long time ago. If you were to say, hey, what'd you do for dinner last night? And I said, we got pizza. You would just be like, oh, okay. And if I said we got burgers, you'd be like, oh, okay, I like burgers too. And if I said, oh, we had pasta, you'd be like, but if I said we had sushi, you would go, oh, sushi, I love sushi. People do that with sushi. It's a weird word. It's a word that elicits weird reactions. And I think Jell-O shots do. Like, you shouldn't be that excited at the idea of me or you having sushi. Anymore. Like if I said we're having chicken, nobody goes, oh man, I love chicken. That's not what people do. But if I say, oh yeah, we had sushi, you go, oh, I love sushi. Jell-O shots, same thing. Like they're fine, I'll enjoy them. But the level at which people get excited about the idea of Jell-O shots, I don't think equals the actual excitement that should accompany that experience.
I'd push back on one thing. When
Okay.
you said we had pizza, my immediate reaction was, ooh, pizza. So I do have the same reaction to pizza as I would sushi, as I would Jell-O. CJ, do you like Jell-O?
I'll eat Jell-O.
I'll eat Jell-O. That's where I'm at.
And listen, I'm
Jell-O
in
gets a
the
bad
chat
rap
right
because
now.
we give Jell-O to old people in the old homes.
Jell-O gets a bad rap because it's not, as far as desserts go, it's not a delicious dessert. Like we have ice cream shops, we have cookie shops, there are cake shops. We don't have any Jell-O shops floating around here. We're like, oh, I can go here and get me some of this good ass Jell-O that I crave.
I'm
like,
ready
no.
to take this a step further.
No.
I'm ready to take this a step further. I'm not even sure why we have Jell-O. You ready for that? Why do we even
Sometimes
have
you
it?
have tooth surgery and all you can eat is something like Jell-O, and there's only so much yogurt or chocolate pudding or chocolate milkshakes that you can eat, and you would like a simple cup of Jell-O, a
Just take me to
low-cal
Smoothie
Jell-O.
King. Just take me to Smoothie King. I feel like whatever.
It might be too cold.
I feel like whatever purpose Jell-O serves, I could serve that purpose at Smoothie King.
More importantly, yes, that is very, very true.
Thank you, Sid.
One. Two. Why are we trying to kiddify liquor drinking at our age?
There you go.
Like, just if you're this age, like you've played all the dumbass drinking games, you've done all the
they're not
fruity
dumb.
ass. They are stupid.
When you end up standing at a flip cup table, something comes, you turn feral.
Okay, just compete. Just do a flip cup competition. Do a beer pong competition, but just drink, man.
I'm with
just sit
CJ on
there
this one.
and
I had never had much use for drinking games.
I love games because I love to compete and I love to win.
Well, you can play
Well,
games.
let's play
that's
Monopoly
fine.
while we drink.
No, no one wants to play Monopoly. I don't want to drink with someone for 8 hours.
I do.
I watched somebody playing Monopoly on their phone the other day, and I didn't know people were doing that. It was a woman at this. I was at a wonderful talent show for the Grizzlies team mentor program. The kids all put together their talents, and they were doing it down at Cosset Library. And I won't blow up this woman's spot by saying who she was.
Sure.
But you know, sometimes at talent shows, you're a parent.
I am.
You've been at bad talent shows.
Sure.
This
Both
was a
of
good
them.
talent show.
Okay.
But between acts, she was just playing Monopoly on her phone.
Well, you know, you got to pass the time.
You gotta do something.
What would you rather her be doing? I did because my favorite board game, because I know you're interested, was Risk growing up.
I do like Risk.
I love Risk. I love Risk. And Then they put it on but I never had nobody to play with. Nobody wants to play Risk with me, and so but then they put it on iPads.
And you can play against computers.
And I was like, oh man, this is gonna be fun. I
Aw.
downloaded it, and then
That's so sweet.
I started playing, and I was like, this seems like a waste of time.
I liked Life.
I don't know. I remember it, but I don't remember the.
I actually loved Monopoly. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
And I like games like Monopoly or Settlers of Catan, like games that take a long time. I just now never have the time to play the games
Well,
that
that's
take
how
so
I
long.
felt when I
Because
started.
I've been watching the NBA playoffs every single day since April 18th. We finally have a night
we're now
off.
30 full days into the
we have
2024 NBA playoffs.
a night off today.
Thank God.
I don't know what I'm going to do with my time.
Stacks documentary on HBO.
There you go.
Yep.
Stacks documentary.
Have us
I still
over.
got
Wait,
to make
hold on.
my way through Shogun.
Have us over. Put the Stacks documentary on in the background. I'll break out the Monopoly
And play
board.
Monopoly?
Gary, bring some liquor, and we'll just drink and play Monopoly.
We'll drink at our own pace. Whatever we feel like. Taking a sip, we'll sip.
That sounds beautiful, and we can reminisce over how Grizzlies fans should feel about a Timberwolves-Mavs Western Conference Finals. What is your reaction to the Minnesota Timberwolves of it all?
This is where I break apart from a traditional fan because I don't get bothered by other people's success. Like the Minnesota Timberwolves going to the Western Conference Finals does not bother
nothing
me
for you.
as a Grizzlies fan.
Yes.
Any more than I heard some people say, man, if Oklahoma City makes it, that'll, because they'll be the young team that wasn't supposed to get there, but they got there as a young team, and we didn't get there as a young team, and we're not even as young as them anymore. And, as a Grizzlies fan, I couldn't take that. And none of those thoughts just go through my head. I just don't. I attach to fun things, and right now, this whole Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns thing looks fun. The games at the Target Center are amazing from an environment perspective. I like seeing Mike back in the Western Conference Finals. That's something even my kids enjoy. Like they like, they're amazed by Anthony Edwards, but they like seeing Mike Conley. So I love this. Like I think Timberwolves Mavericks are going to be awesome. You've got Anthony Edwards and that whole story on one side, and Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, this partnership that people questioned, reasonably so. Like I don't know where it goes from here, but it's not crazy to think they could be in the NBA Finals. I'm not predicting it, but I could certainly envision it. So I'm down with it. I'm not that interested in what's going to happen in the East going forward, but the West, I'm fired up. And I know that might not run the same way that most Grizzlies fans, but again, I don't look at Minnesota and feel like they passed us, even if that might be true. I just go, man, that looks fun. I can't wait for game one.
I'm with you. I like fun things.
Right.
And I certainly can understand the pettiness that can occur. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell someone, hey, if it bugs you that Minnesota's in the conference finals, like, that's dumb. Enjoy the Minnesota Timberwolves for all they are. Enjoy Kyle Anderson crushing Coors banquets after the Timberwolves win Game 7. However, I think from a greater basketball perspective, it's interesting. And I love people being proved wrong. And you have the Timberwolves and the Mavs who brought in players that near unanimously, especially in the case of the Minnesota Timberwolves, was deemed a failure before it even had the true opportunity to take off in linking up Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns together. One of them's got to go. Rudy Gobert is not the solution of bringing the Timberwolves a step closer to chasing a championship. Karl Anthony Towns isn't a true winner. He's going to have to be off the roster. And instead, now you just had a mighty Timberwolves team come back down 20 on the road in a Game 7 and wipe out what looked to be a world beater like team trying to chase after a second championship. And the same thing goes for the Mavs and the Kyrie Irving addition and some of the moves that they made even at the trade deadline of this year. So I like that. And I also like having something different.
Yeah.
Like, I'm from Denver. I didn't grow up a massive Nuggets fan. I've talked about it before. I like the Nuggets, but I'm not sitting there crying last night. I don't need dynasties in my life anymore. I would prefer the opposite of that. I would prefer new blood.
Right. I don't mind dynasties. I actually appreciated the Warriors run. Like I can watch that and go, man, that's awesome and that's fun to watch.
I like greatness.
Yeah, I appreciate greatness. Like I don't get as a Grizzlies fan, I don't get offended by the Warriors' greatness. I appreciate it and hope that my kids can enjoy that here someday. But yeah, to me, that's the most interesting thing about this. These are two franchises that made high-profile front office decisions, neither of which were popular at the time. It's like, really? Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns, you think it's 1980? What are you doing? And then it's like, Boston regretted getting into the Kyrie Irving business. Brooklyn regretted getting into the Kyrie Irving business. It's going to work out for you. And I know that there was Dallas sort of got themselves in a situation where the only sensible thing to do was pay him because letting him walk it was just like, we're in this for, I bet you in the Mavericks front office, even at that moment, they were like, I don't know, but we got to do it. But it's worked out brilliantly. Like either that franchise that did that or the franchise that paired Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns, one of them is winning the West. And that's not something most people thought would happen when either franchise made those moves. So, like, that's probably a lesson for all of us. Like, be patient. Right. Don't assume you can give grades on the, 5 minutes after a trade happens. But also, like, it's fun to watch. These are two. And the other thing is, I think three of the four teams left can win a championship here. I don't think the Pacers can, but any of the other three, totally reasonable.
The Pacers. Whew. We talked so much about the Celtics having the easiest road to the conference finals, but the Pacers had an easy road of their. It's different because the Celtics are the #1 overall seed, and the Celtics come with the baggage of who they have been as a team these last couple of years, and not being able to get a championship and only having one NBA Finals appearance within that span. But when it comes to the Pacers, I thought it was so interesting, like the attempts at having general animosity towards Tyrese Halliburton from the Knicks side. But when I look at Tyrese Halliburton, I don't have a visceral reaction like that. And he's in there after the game in the Reggie Miller choke hoodie. And I saw people, if you're so tough, wear it before the game. And I'm like, well, that's not Tyrese Halliburton. Like, he's going to put it on afterwards. But he is not this big bad villain. He's not Reggie Miller to the Knicks. He's not even Trae Young to Knicks fans. And they had to turn him into that. And it just lacked something for me.
Some of that started with Wally Zerbiak. Okay. My buddy, he does... color analyst for the Knicks. And it goes back to last season. He was really campaigning, Wally was, for like Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle to be all-stars and sort of pitted them against Tyrese Halliburton. And it was like, you can't take Tyrese Halliburton. He ain't done anything. And he was really trying to pump up the Knicks players. But, it went viral. Halliburton responded to it. Like at one point changed his Twitter profile picture to Wally Zerbiak. And then it became a deal where Wally was trying to pump up Knicks at the expense of Tyrese Halliburton. Halliburton took offense to it. Therefore, Pacers fans took offense to it. Then there's this little weird rivalry, and then it just escalates because you're in a high-profile series. But no, it's easy for me to understand why Knicks fans would hate Trae Young, or why even Hawks fans would hate Trae Young, if I'm being honest. But Tyrese Halliburton's not that guy.
Or Joel Embiid. Yelling F Joel or F Embiid, F Trae. Doesn't quite hit the same.
Like this
F
Pacers
Hallie
story is a
isn't the
fun
same
story.
thing.
It's just, it doesn't feel, authentic's not the right word, but it's like
when you were starting the sentence, I was like, doesn't feel real. And that's not fair either.
Honestly, we've been to the Western Conference Finals once, and it was injury-induced.
Right.
Russell Westbrook was hurt, and there was other things that went. So you don't have to apologize for getting where you get, but the rest of us watching this, nobody believes the Pacers are really one of the 2 best teams in the East or one of the 4 best teams in the NBA. They've just benefited from, the Knicks fell apart. The Knicks just fell apart. Everybody got hurt, or else they wouldn't be here. And so now most people assume, myself included, that the Celtics will make light work of them. But, let Indiana go in there and steal a game 1, and we'll have something to talk about.
The narratives will be out of control.
Right.
Funniest thing possible. No, I think that's a really good point because it also carries over to, I've seen a lot of Nuggets post-mortem, and some people, I said in the first block, yesterday was like a generational day of hating on the internet. If you wanted to hate on something, you could find anything. And the Nuggets took a brunt of it at the end of last night. And there were some people saying, who have the Nuggets really beaten on their way to their championship or in the playoffs in the Jamal Murray era? And when you look at it, the Nuggets in the Murray era are 8-0 in series against 4 seeds or lower, and they're 1-5 in series versus 3 seeds or higher. But I have eyeballs, and I understand that Nikola Jokic is one of, if not the best players in the world, and a Nuggets team that ran out of gas this year, certainly. But it's different than a Pacers team that lucked their way into the conference finals. There's just an eyeball test difference there.
When I watched the Nuggets win a championship last year, it never even entered my mind. But who are they beating? I was like, they're like the best team in the world. He looks like the best player in the world. With these Pacers, I watch them and I go, I don't have any feeling. I just think they're here because what was in front of them fell apart.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And they wouldn't be here otherwise. And I don't think they're a real threat to Boston. I'm happy to be wrong. I'd like to watch a competitive series, but it feels like we've got 4 teams left, 3 of which can win this championship, and 1 that is only here because the Knicks fell apart, and that's the Pacers.
Our boss, John Puglisi, would like us to know that Canucks Oilers Game 7 tonight. So while we don't have the NBA, I'm sorry, my Colorado Avalanche fell in a tragic event over the weekend. It was a rough weekend at Ball Arena for first the Avs and then the Nuggets. It's been tough for Denver fans, and I don't recognize the Stanley Cup playoffs once the Avs are gone.
I don't get into it. I just don't have the bandwidth to follow it.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not going to be talking about it because there's not. Perhaps there is a hockey audience here, but I know that
it's Pugs.
I know I'm not going to usually be talking about it unless there's like something that transcends hockey, and so I don't follow it. But I recognize like it's a big deal. The arenas are all packed and people care about this stuff. It's just so far off my radar. Like NASCAR. There was a fight.
We're going to talk about it in the next segment. Or I'm going to try to talk about it in the next segment. Let's be clear.
When I saw the video, my first thought was, my God, this is the first time NASCAR has penetrated my world in a while. Like I don't even know who's good anymore. Like who's leading in points?
Don't ask me.
I have no idea who won it last year. I have no idea. Something has changed with NASCAR. It used to I would kind of be aware of who was good and who wasn't. I don't even know who drives anymore.
I used to have to be aware of it from a local TV news standpoint because a lot of people who watch local television love NASCAR and they'll write in to the sports people if you don't include NASCAR. But after that, that was it.
Yeah.
GP, enjoy the rest of your
before we let them go.
Yes.
We hadn't done it in a while.
Okay.
We have a new meme?
Here's a meme.
Okay, yeah,
Gary, what's this meme about right here?
That is.
Have you encountered this meme?
I don't feel like I know this one.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't know this. I don't know this kid.
But if you were to caption this meme or use this meme, what situation would you find yourself sending this to somebody?
That would be. I think if I had to send this to somebody, it would be Vernon texting me, reminding me that he beat me in golf yesterday, and that he appreciates me filling up his Venmo, and then maybe I'd send that back. Would that work?
That would be so you're using an angry baby here?
Yeah.
Just, you're angry, I'll get you next time.
Don't bring it up. Don't bring that up. Is that what I would do?
Sure, I think so. This baby was known as Success Kid.
No, that is absolutely not what you would do. You would send it if Vernon would send that to you. Like you would say, Vernon, I sent you your money, and he'd send you the Success Kid fist pump. Like the fist pump is very much like Tiger Woods.
I think it's an all-encompassing baby.
That baby looks angry to me. That baby doesn't.
It was licensed for commercial use and was used by the White House to promote immigration reform. So that's a versatile baby.
Yes, they're coming across the border.
Grab the sand.
How did that baby? That baby was designed to do what? Promote what?
No. It wasn't designed to do anything. It was just a woman who took a picture of her son on the beach trying to eat sand. But it ended up getting licensed for commercial use. So luckily, this baby's family, and I hope the baby itself
this baby was gonna
made
help
some
with
money.
Immigration?
The White House used this photo to promote immigration reform.
Yes,
in mid
they're
2015,
here.
the family of this baby used it to promote a GoFundMe campaign for money to pay for the father's kidney transplant. So this baby has made money. Did you see the Four Seasons baby over the weekend?
No.
Did you, CJ?
What are y'all looking at all these babies for?
Oh, the Four Seasons Orlando baby is the hottest thing on the internet right now. And this baby is built different. This is the biggest baby I've ever seen. This is a massive baby.
Where do y'all see all these babies?
They're part of a rich family. When you were talking about like your Ritz-Carlton status, this baby has stayed at probably every Ritz, every Four Seasons, and it's just a baby.
I think our internets are different.
Yeah, they are.
You can go find the Four Seasons baby.
I think our internets are different.
Four Seasons baby made its way off of TikTok and onto Twitter pretty excessively over the weekend.
Yeah, maybe I'm just not paying attention.
Multiple of my group chats have brought up Four Seasons baby.
Well, I'm
so
not in
you're
a
not
group
in the right
chat.
group
I'm
chat.
not in a group chat
It's
with
tough. I was gonna send the Four Seasons baby for Hot Mess Express, but it felt weird showcasing a baby. So Instead, I just talked about it for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where you're seeing all these babies.
All right, GP.
All right, I got
bye.
I got
Enjoy.
things to do.
I'm not gonna say that.
What were you
I was
gonna
gonna
say?
say enjoy the babies.
No,
but
relax.
No. Hey,
This is
Prince William was voted the UK's third sexiest man in 2024. I don't know what picture they were using, but yeah, Prince
It's
William.
sexy?
Wait till you find out who put on the UK's voting of sexiest man of 2024. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about a Bluey day gone wrong in Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Aces are under investigation, and that NASCAR fight after a quick break.
This is an actual good shoe.
Yeah, it looks like
this
a good
is
shoe.
real good shoe.
What you think about him, KJ? She likes Cheetos.
Like Cheetos?
Yeah,
like
nice.
Cheetos.
You like
For
Cheetos?
kids, yeah, nice.
That's what I mean. For kids,
For kids,
1,000%.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I was still playing basketball, I played in brightly colored shoes. I wore pink shoes a lot of the time or purple shoes. Like, I like that.
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
I mean, Chuck E. Cheese is rough. I don't know if you've been there in a while. They look like they're trying to go to business and they can't.
All new material.
They filed for bankruptcy and they're still open. They called Blockbuster and they're like, how do you get out? We want out.
Nate Bargatze, Friday, May 31st, FedEx Forum. Tickets available at FedEx Forum box office or Ticketmaster.com. Produced by Outback Presents Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
Lindsey Harding has gotten a chance to interview for the Charlotte Hornets vacancy.
She's proven that she could coach on the men's side. She's done a fantastic job and got this G League opportunity and was coach of the year. This is fantastic for women's basketball.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizby, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Let's talk about MVPs.
Let's do it. I went with the Joker.
Oh my God,
Nikola Jokic.
Nikola freaking Jokic.
Every time I watch him play, I am so impressed.
I'm obsessed with him.
Yeah.
Everything he does works. He can pass, he can shoot, he can rebound, he can drive, he can defend. Like, he can do everything.
He can lead the fast break, and he's like 7-1.
IMHO with Lang Whitaker and me, Kelsey Wright Johnson, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
You had 7 games where you had 5 assists or more. Do you know how many times prior to that in your NBA career you have had 5 assists in a game? Twice. How about that?
You're playmaking Jared. Playmaking Jared.
Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd's crazy.
Shrimp Kid.
Shrimp Kid is crazy.
Shrimp Kid.
The Chris Vernon Show, presented by Caesars Sportsbook, live weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
I've cuddled a time or two in my life.
We are the right.
I've cuddled too.
I've cuddled a
We're
time
the
or two
right
in my life.
heights. We're the right just.
Yeah, and
size
I think
general.
sometimes you're cuddling and you're like, man, I don't know if this fits the right way.
Or I was with someone who had like a baseball injury once, and so like his arm couldn't handle, like he physically couldn't.
He had to say, I would love to cuddle you, but I
I
tore my
can't.
rotator
I
cuff.
physically cannot.
What a wild deal.
The Gary Parrish Show, live weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
All aboard!
The Hot Mess Express. Chugga, 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 chugga.
Welcome back. First, one correction from myself. I called it picante meat earlier. It's picana. The picana cut of beef comes from the area on the rump of the cow above a fat cap. Shout out to those who helped me with my meat designations. I really need to do a better job at defining meats in the world. Speaking of meat, the UK announced their sexiest men alive in 2024.
Let's look at this man meat. Who's on the list?
Let me tell you, coming in at number 3, which some would say solidified there must only be 3 total men in all of the United Kingdom, is Prince William. Prince William winning a sexiest man campaign. He didn't win, but coming in top 3 in a sexiest man campaign in the year of our Lord 2024 feels a bit dated. Not to mention, would love to see Kate Middleton somewhere, sometime, somehow. I'll save that conversation for another day. This is about William.
Regular looking ass. Like that's a regular. I don't say
like
this
maybe
lightly.
they used the old early 20s William when he was wearing the crew neck sweaters with the
even
the
still he wasn't that
undershirts.
attractive.
Yes, he was. I had a poster of William on my wall. I can't tell a lie.
It's not like you got the best taste of men, Jessica. I'm the man expert. I'm the man meat expert over here, and I'm telling you that even in his 20s, he was not that damn attractive.
William was cute.
Not cute enough to be sexiest.
He had
anything.
the prince bump, though.
That
You get a
doesn't-
pretty
no,
significant bump
come
when
on,
you're a
man.
prince. Yes, and he was
Come on,
Diana's
man.
kid. Yes.
Come on, man.
The
Was he-
cultural
he
bump
wasn't-
of being
he
Princess
wasn't-
Diana's son and being cute enough to pass as hot shot him up in
crush
the
is fine.
standings.
Acceptable crush is if you're a little girl, fine. But he wasn't better than Jonathan Taylor Thomas. He wasn't better than the Savage from Boy Meets World. He was no
He was
Sean.
absolutely better
he
than
was
Sean.
Not. No
Yes,
way.
he
He
was.
was not
Yes,
more
he was.
attractive than Sean. You stop it.
Would
No.
you like to know who was above him
Yes.
in the standings?
I wanna know who was behind him.
Number 2. Okay, fine. We'll do the top 10.
Okay.
Number 10. I don't know half these people is the problem.
Here we go.
Number
There it is.
10, Dermot
Whoa!
O'Leary. The problem is Idris Elba being number 6. The problem is Idris Elba being number 6. The other problem is Cillian Murphy, who is Irish, being on the list, period.
Why?
Because this is a UK sexiest man alive. I would.
In Ireland, a part of the United Kingdom?
They don't want to be.
They don't want to be, but aren't they? Isn't everybody
I
on
would
the
not
island of the
take-
United Kingdom?
No, they're not a part of the UK.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who is a part of the UK then? Scotland, Wales,
Scotland,
Northern
Wales, and
Ireland.
Northern Ireland.
Oh, and Ireland just
I don't know where
isn't.
Cillian was born.
Okay, I didn't know that. Throw that picture back up because.
Cillian was born in Cork, which is Southern Ireland.
Okay, throw the picture back up because the dude who won looks terrifying.
So yes, the dude who won is Jeremy Clarkson. He's now won 2 years in a row. He is
2 years in a row?
British actor, best known for, I'm sorry, not an actor. I think he's a presenter. I think he's like a reality TV host. He hosts a show called Top Gear, which looks like it's about cars.
2
if I'm
years
reading
in a row?
context clues. 2 years in a row.
That looks like a DUI pic. You could have thrown that picture up there.
And I think it's an old picture too, because I think he's born in 1960, so he's 63.
Okay.
I think that's a younger picture.
You could've
That looks like a
thrown-
man in his 50s.
Who was the golfer that got arrested? You could have thrown that picture up there and said, hey, this is the picture of the golfer who got arrested on Friday. I'd be like, oh yeah, that's believable. That's a mugshot pic. That is not somebody who should be thought of as sexy.
Not Scotty Scheffler.
Is that who he was?
Yeah.
Okay.
You missed that was quite the morning
Free
that
Scotty.
you missed. CJ.
Hashtag free Scotty.
He's free.
Idris being 6.
Right, that's the problem. So
That
if you're
is a
curious,
sexy man.
If you're curious where these rankings came from, because I saw it, my timeline was just full of people dunking on Prince William being top 3. This is according to the dating website Illicit Affairs. So the headline everywhere is Prince William's named 3rd sexiest man in the UK. You have to do some digging to figure out who is voting on this. It is 2,000 women on the website Illicit Encounters, which is a dating website for married people looking to have affairs. Why are we using Illicit Encounters to designate the sexiest men of the UK? This is why we left. This is why we dumped all that tea. We don't want it. We don't want any part of that.
I guess if you're looking to have an affair, you've been married for a while. So if you're in your 10th, 12th year of marriage, your senses are thrown off. You're dull. You're numb. You just want to feel something. So I guess getting in bed with one of those fugly looking dudes will do it for you. I don't know. Holland is on that list. That list is atrocious.
It's a bad list. Idris Elba and Cillian Murphy.
I throw Holland in there.
I've never thought Holland.
I
don't know who Sam Thompson is, but he looks kind of cute.
Killian looks kind of scary to me. Killian looks like a psychopath.
Like who's number 9? Who's Russ Cook?
Throw it back
Russ
up there.
Cook.
Is he
Throw it
attractive?
back up.
I don't care
He
if we
is
know him or not. Is he attractive?
He's an endurance runner.
Oh, so he's got stamina. That's, I guess, got to count for something.
Look at that, number
no
9
way.
down there.
No way. My man looks like Animal from the Muppets. No way. What are you women doing?
I don't know. I really judged this list.
Lord.
I will say,
Idris
I had
at 6. Wow.
I don't think it's that hot of a take on the hot men. There is one clear-cut winner for sexiest man in the United States of America right now, and it is Ryan Gosling. What a man. I saw The Fall Guy over the weekend.
sexiest man in America. That's what we should draft. We're going to draft sexiest men in America.
I'm super down.
Let's draft.
Okay, Ryan Gosling. Well, I'm giving away my top pick. Please don't steal him because Ryan Gosling, if you can go see The Fall Guy, it's not a great movie. It's just a fun movie. And his muscles in all a cinema. That is the cinema that Nicole Kidman was talking about. All right, next up on the Hot Mess Express. There was a Bluey day gone wrong in Las Vegas, Nevada. A restaurant in Las Vegas called The Dirt Dog posted an event on Facebook that they were going to have Bluey and other characters from Bluey around at an event where they were going to serve up desserts and there was going to be face painting and it was going to be for kids. 3,000 people responded to this event and came out to the Dirt Dog. They didn't expect that many people. Their version of Bluey was just a man who worked for the restaurant in blue pajamas. The kids were reportedly distraught. Some were crying. Everyone thought it was a ripoff. That is Bluey. That is Bluey at the Dirt Dog in Las Vegas. Please take a listen to this one young girl who was interviewed on Fox 5, which is a local TV station in Las Vegas, about this entire incident.
To Fox 5 and says they want to say sorry to all the families and they underestimated the power of Bluey.
When I saw him, I just ignored him. I was mad.
What, did he look like the cartoon? Did he look like on TV?
No, he looked like unexpected. We could like see his beard.
Looked unexpected. I'm gonna start saying that when somebody looks off. Just gonna say no. He looked unexpected. Give the children their money back. This was our very own version of the Willy Wonka experience that happened in Glasgow earlier this year. This was the Bluey version. People love Bluey. Don't mess with Bluey.
So once you find out that 3,000 people are coming to this thing, don't you feel like
you close your doors?
Okay, hey, wait
you
a
say,
second.
sorry, we've had a health code violation.
Just let me, once it gets to like 500 people and growing, you're like, hey, hold on, wait a second. This is a joke. This isn't an actual Bluey type of thing. This is a bar. We're going to dress somebody up in a Bluey onesie. We encourage you guys to wear your Bluey gear. In fact, we'll give you half off advertisers for everybody dressed in Bluey shirts or paraphernalia, what have you. You can't have
I want
the
Bluey
babies.
Paraphernalia.
You can't have the babies come out there to see Bluey and that's the Bluey you give.
I swear.
That's rough. And people do love Bluey.
Love
Parents love them some
Bluey.
What's the
Don't mess
ball-headed
with
kid?
Bluey.
Caillou?
Oh, Caillou. People hate Caillou.
Caillou. The hatred they have for
Do
Caillou
you think
is
people
love for
love Bluey because he represented an out from Caillou?
I think so.
I think so,
I think that's
too.
a part. And also the show
It's
is,
great from what I
is
hear.
Good.
Goes through runs the gambit of emotions, and Caillou's just a little punk. So Caillou walked and really pissed people off so that Bluey could run and 3,000 people in Las Vegas could be disappointed. Speaking of Las Vegas, I don't know if you have followed this, CJ, but the Aces are under investigation after the city of Las Vegas, the Convention and Visitors Authority, announced that it was going to be paying every single member of the Las Vegas Aces $100,000. They were signing 2-year contracts worth $100K. In return, each player would do appearances on Las Vegas's behalf. The deals were done through the players' agents, not through the team itself, to avoid breaking WNBA salary cap rules. The WNBA salary cap is $1.4 million. The deal with the Las Vegas Convention Center is $1.2 million. The deal is more money than half the roster makes on their WNBA contract. It is a life-changing investment. So sure, now the WNBA is investigating if this disrupts the spirit of the cap space.
Hold on, wait.
Yes.
So this is a sponsorship deal.
It's essentially it's like an NIL deal.
It's a sponsorship deal. You're going to pay them to come do sponsored things.
Correct.
What's the issue there?
Exactly.
I
don't understand how this is an issue. People are trying to say that because it's the city of Las Vegas, because the city hosts the team, that this represents an unfair competitive advantage in free agency. One would be more apt to want to go play for Las Vegas. And I'm saying other cities pay up.
But that's
like support your team and have the team support you. It's called a relationship. That's how these kind of things work.
That's sports.
That's what I thought.
Players leave markets to go other markets, LA, New York, et cetera, all the time for sponsorship deals. To get in markets where they can get more money in sponsorship deals. And we see players oftentimes, don't we, partner with cities in sponsorship deals where the city says, hey, come make some appearances and pop up and do some commercials with us to increase tourism to the city, right? And we'll pay you. right? Like that's
apparently
that's
the
fine.
problem is it being every single member of the team.
The problem is that the WNBA is going to mess this thing up.
The problem is
That's
the
it.
Aces have won back-to-back championships, and so there is a different kind of pre-exposure to the current situation the WNBA finds itself in. And yes, you are correct. The WNBA is going to mess this up. This is the kind of thing that to me is a no-brainer. It works. It's cool. Put a highlight on it. Wow, how dope is this? Every player on this team, half of this team roster, if we're talking about contracts and how much money people are being able to be paid, half of them are going to make more than the entirety of their contract in this one deal. What a great representation of how hot the WNBA is right now.
Maybe they're embarrassed some by it as well, because you can't have half of the
Making
roster
more than they're
making
actually
more
making.
than they're actually making on this one deal. But yo, you spend this the way you're saying spend it. Like, hey, look how cool it is that we got this type of interest in this type of a market, and hope that maybe LA or New York, one of these larger cities, also starts chiming in, and that drives interest to your product. Also, find a way to pay these women more. Like, they should be able to make more money than what they're making.
Yeah.
So if that's how you feel about it, pay them more, and then you don't have to worry about it. But that's just a sponsorship deal. What's the deal? What's the difference in this and them signing the players signing deals with Nike? Right? Not Sabrina. Well, not just Sabrina, but Caitlin Clark's deal with Nike. Why? Asia's deal with Nike. What's the difference here other than everybody on the team is getting it?
And other than this is a city partnership. But to me, it makes absolutely no sense. I will say something that was really cool I saw over the weekend. I get a daily newsletter called The Skim, and a lot of women subscribe. It's like news filtered through a fun pop culture element, but also a newsy element. And one of their weekend reads was from Vogue, which did a profile on how the WNBA tunnel is officially a fashion destination. And there could not be a bigger truth. Like, some of the outfits that have come across the timeline, Cameron Brink, again, she has had hit after hit after hit, and she had another one over this weekend. But it is very fun to see the WNBA cross into this pop culture space. And we started it with, honestly, really starting it with Angel Reese making her announcement that she was leaving LSU and entering the WNBA draft on the cover of Vogue. And then Angel Reese getting invited to the Met Gala. We've seen it from a variety of players this season, but I thought it was very cool when that popped up in my inbox over the weekend. We almost, CJ, had what could have been the most disrespectful dunk in NBA playoff history if Jayden McDaniel had landed this. This was when the Wolves were up 7 with under 30 seconds to go in last night's game. And Jayden McDaniels tried to bounce it to himself and dunk it, turning it into a little dunk contest moment of his own. Watching this in real time, I thought we were finally going to get a real NBA playoffs fight. I thought we were going to get a fight that you would dub a fight. And instead, it just...
And that's what you do. If that's the move that you make, foul them. Foul him hard also. I think KCP did a good job of showing restraint in that moment. He got up there, got him on the arm, didn't knock him to the ground. Because others in that league and others across generations would have leveled him for that attempt. I told you about the time we almost got the fight in the AAU tournament because of some stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's grounds to fight. Like, listen, you already won the game. That's fine. Do you want to find out if you can win the fight? Because we can go there. If that's the type of sportsmanship you're going to want to show, that's fine. Stop them, obviously. If you don't like it, stop them. And then once you stop them, nobody says how you have to stop them, right? Nobody says be gentle in your stopping of them. If somebody had on the Nuggets had to just grabbed them and two hands shoved them into the second row of the stands, that would have been stopping them. And now we can make whatever shake. Whatever got to wiggle at that point, right? So a little bit of sportsmanship, a little bit of decorum, goes a long way. Shout out to KCP for, 1, stopping them from making it, and 2, not leveling them, showing some type of composure. Hats off to him.
Decorum went out the window at the NASCAR All-Star race on Sunday.
It should.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. of Memphis, Tennessee himself. We stand with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Got into it with Kyle Busch after the NASCAR All-Star race. This is an all-star race. It's a really great question, CJ.
Okay, all right, cool. Keep going.
Anyway, Stenhouse had made an aggressive move on the opening lap of the race, and Busch ended up in the wall. And then this happens after, because Busch intentionally had crashed into Stenhouse, eliminating him on lap 2. This happens after the fact.
All right, guard your grill. There we go. This is a fight. This here is a fight. There's a punch thrown. There's a choke out. All right, who's
Well,
the
and
dude
Ricky
in the
Stenhouse
gray?
Sr. ends up on the floor as well. So Ricky Stenhouse
Is that-
Jr.'s father, I think this is his father at this point.
His father?
Question mark?
He's punching his father?
Yes.
He's punching his daddy?
No, he's not punching his dad.
Okay.
Kyle Busch is punching
So that's Kyle
Ricky
Busch.
Stenhouse Sr.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my man is up here just throwing people off of the truck.
And like Stenhouse Jr. is yelling, Dad, can somebody get my dad? It was very Lion King-esque.
Somebody get my dad? You go get your dad. You the one who threw the damn punch. That's your dad. You find a way to go get your dad. What do you mean?
So I was reading through the transcript of this, as we mentioned with Gary. Do not follow NASCAR all that well these days. However, I do know Ricky Stenhouse is from the great city of Memphis, Tennessee. Excuse me, the great state of Memphis, Tennessee. That said, the quote of that fight came from Kyle Busch, who at one point yells, "Bring it. I don't give a F. I suck just as bad as you. Let's go." What a way to start a fight. I suck just as bad as you. From my minor research, they're both struggling this season and just acknowledging, hey, we're both not very good last night. Let's go. Let's go at this NASCAR All-Star race. This has no implications. It's an All-Star race.
This is how All-Star games should be.
I agree.
Let's go NBA.
If you want to
fighting in
make
the
All-Star
game.
games great again, take notes from NASCAR and just get in situations where I believe he had to wait like a significant period before he was able to meet up with him, because the way it works is that where the incident happened on lap 2, so they wreck on lap 2, there's no exit tunnel, so Stenhouse had to wait 198 laps to confront Busch afterwards. So he's sitting there stewing for 198 laps, and he couldn't talk himself out of fighting within those 198. That's someone who was really pissed off. I appreciate that. I applaud it on a Monday. CJ, it's good to have you back. I have a 3-day week this week.
Jerk.
It's okay. It's the summer.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It's a good time. Feels great to be in sunshine. Wow, I don't know the words to our own song. I'll work on that. Hope everyone
the song has words?
Our song?
Oh, the intro
Our
does.
intro song.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Feels
it
great
either.
in the sunshine.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it's
And
all
it's all
mine.
Yeah, it's not ours. We grabbed that from some free site. Like, it's not exactly ours.
Happy Monday, everybody. No NBA tonight. First time since April 18th. If you like hockey, we have a Game 7 in hockey. They say they're the best 2 words in all of sports, not just in basketball. So you got a Game 7. Check that out. You can catch up on TV. We'll be back tomorrow. I think Mike Wallace will join us. We'll talk more about the NBA playoffs tomorrow. The conference finals begin, and we are launching a fun new bit on the show. So what more of a teaser could you want than that? Everybody, enjoy your Monday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Now you've got me wondering about the words to this song.
I don't think I can Google lyrics to the Jessica Benson show.